So now we come to the last of the three markers outside of Mercy Hospital. We've talked about Dr. Wimbish and his role in civil rights, and now it's time to talk about Dr. Robert Swain. He was a black dentist, but he was also very much a civil rights leader and a businessman. But Dr. Swain challenged the red line on 15th Avenue. We could live on the north side of 15th Avenue, but we could not cross the street and live on the south side of 15th Avenue. And Dr. Swain challenged that because he wanted to build his dentist office and some apartment on the south side. So he was going to sue the city, but before they let that happen, they decided to allow him to build his building. And both Dr. Wimbish's building and the pharmacy, which is on the south side, has historic designation. And now if you look on the north side of 15th Avenue, we'll see Dr. Swain's office and apartment building, and it also has historic designation.
The good things about him that a lot of people don't know, and these are things that once again he shared, he would provide lunches for Davis Elementary and the other black schools out of his pocket. He had ice cream trucks because they didn't have ice cream trucks that would service the black community. So he bought ice cream trucks so that he could service the black community.
Dr. Swain was my dentist and my friend. But I was about to leave on my first trip to Africa somewhere in the early 90s, and I developed a toothache about 3 days before I was supposed to leave. And I called Bob and I said, I have a toothache and I'm leaving for Africa and I want to take care of this. And he said, come on over to the office. This dentist had such a gentle hand that he drilled and filled my tooth with no pain medication. And when his eldest daughter took this tour and heard that story, she cried. She'd never heard that story before. That's how gentle his touch was.
He was also very quiet, soft-spoken, kind of easy to get along with.
But then here was this very strong man who challenged the city of St. Petersburg. Yeah.
During spring training in St. Petersburg,
black people could not stay in the hotels, so the ball players couldn't stay in the hotel with the white ball players. They had to find lodging for them in the black community. And they also couldn't eat in the restaurants downtown. So my grandmother, like I say, she had lodging for them and she fed them. And Roberto Clemente was my roommate for 4 days when they would come up to play the Cardinals. Behind our house was a big field where me and my buddies, where we played ball. We'd be playing ball and turn around, Roberto Clemente was in the outfield waiting for the ball to come to him. And he had just been playing ball all day.
Dr. Swain built the apartment to house some of these black ball players. And that was all well and good, but at some point, I think he and Dr. Wimbish perhaps were the ones who talked about it. Dr. Swain said, you know, we're just encouraging further segregation by having this apartment building for black players.
They sued the city and they won, but the hotels in St. Pete refused to let the black ball players stay. And that's when the
Yankees went to Fort Lauderdale.
Today, it's hard to imagine the racism and the Jim Crow and all of that happened in St. Pete. But St. Petersburg was a part of this nation and a part of the South.
Sure.
And it was very, very racist here, and Jim Crow was everywhere. I can remember so many stories growing up.